Hey kids, it's time for another exciting episode of KWJUDAS!
This is Our Bones to Chords as our last minute guest filling in for River Arrow. Sorry, River Arrow is not going to be here tonight, kids.
But yeah. I'm loving the name A Bone to Chords.
Yeah. How did you come up with that?
It's from a little poem that I wrote, and I was like, oh, that's sort of an interesting phrase, and maybe it would work for a band name, because I was struggling with one. But the idea is that, you experience something that makes, or like a really loud sound or a really impressive experience that just makes your bones vibrate like chords.
I like it. Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
Yes.
That's where the image comes from.
Word. So you have 2 albums out, and I figure we'll get to your first album later in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
When you first released that album, it was under a different name, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Insomnus.
Yep, and actually some of it was recorded under the name Somnus, which is a name I had from like my senior year in high school. I was like started doing album covers without having an actual band. It was just like, this is, I play the bass, so I'm going to have a band, and didn't actually write songs for a year or 2 after that. And then I released a bunch of stuff, and it was on mp3.com for those who are old enough to remember that.
Uh-huh.
And
Word.
there was another band somewhere Midwest or in the East. They were called Somnus, and they had like, a live presence and a few albums. Like, I guess you can take the name. And then I went to Insomnus and released that collection, and then more or less just sort of retired from doing solo stuff. And some other German metal band was using something similar to Insomnus. I'm like, come up with something new.
Yeah, that sounds like a German metal band.
Yeah, or some Eastern Bloc place, I don't know. And then I was thinking, well, I'll just release it under my own name, and I'm like, that's not interesting at all. Let's come up with a sort of band name.
Right.
But then I was thinking maybe I will release that album, because it sounds like what this new album sounds like. It's sort of, similar instruments, similar mood. So I mastered it, because it'd never been mastered, and released it, and nobody has listened to it, which is just fine. So
I've listened to it, and I dig it.
You have now listened to it. I appreciate that.
Indeed. I didn't know that you had your first album up under that name, so that's the first time that I listened to it, but I actually had a burned copy of it.
Oh, yeah.
If you remember.
Yeah, it's an ancient burned copy, yep.
Do you want it back?
Nope.
Okay, because it's on my computer, so you can have it back if you want it.
Nope, I think I burned it just for you.
Oh, well.
Not many of those exist either. I sort of released it, and then also just was like, around about that time was when mp3.com died, and so it was just like, I guess this album is just done. There's nobody really to give it to. I sent it off to a zine in England, and it was years later. My buddy's like, "Have you seen this review?" Like, no. And they gave it a really nice review.
Years later.
That's when I found out. They didn't bother getting in touch with me to say, "Hey, we liked your CD and we wrote a review for it." But
just gave you a review silently.
Yep.
Strange.
And I copied it and pasted it on Bandcamp because why not?
Yeah, you don't get something like that every day.
But yeah, I was like, wow, somebody actually did listen to this album and even sort of liked it.
And that was your first album.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's play another couple of songs off of the more recent one. And like I said, we'll get to the older stuff later on in the episode.
Okay.
This is Our Bones to Chords, plural, on KWJUDAS, Gumption City Radio. Gangsta, gangsta. This is Gumption City Radio. We have with us tonight Eric, who is the solo man of Our Bones to Chords. Those last two songs, I really dig both of those songs.
Thank you.
And it's not just because Schlong Bob is on it, but it definitely does help.
He played really well.
Yeah, that is the trombone that you're hearing on both those last two ditties.
Yeah, I was. I didn't expect to have trombone on it. But I was fiddling around. I think it was with Fields of the Fatherless, the second one we heard, and I was just messing around with some of my virtual instruments, and I had this trombone, and I started playing with it. And I was like, "Oh, that sounds really cool," and this fits this. So I wrote this part, and then I was on this trombone kick, so I wrote it for the first song we heard, and the cranes will return to the lake, and the cranes will return. And so I had these two songs. It's like, I wonder if Adam will record these. So I converted the MIDI information to a score and emailed it to him and said, "Hey, if I give you some money, will you come hang out with me for a minute or two and record these?" And he's like, "You bet."
Yeah, you bribe him with money.
Yep. And he came over, and we just did a couple takes of each one, and I was like, "This is awesome."
Yeah, I'd agree.
And he plays so well.
I'll third that motion.
It's just, and it added a ton to those songs.
Yeah, for being instrumental songs, yeah, that's just what they needed, you know. And Adam, or Schlong Bob, the Professor Von Peef.
Von Peef.
He's been with us for many moons. He's also in Me and Wizard's band, for those of you who do not know. And that trombone of his has got him through college.
It's got him through life.
Yeah, pretty much, you know. And now he's a music professor. He's actually a real teacher in the music world.
And he schlongs that bone like no other. He's good at it.
Yep. It is true.
Yep. I never realized that I liked the trombone until I saw him play it or heard him play it. I was like, "Oh yeah, this instrument is awesome."
It's fun.
So.
You mean like the first time you heard him with
Delphicorum?
With Delphicorum?
Yeah, and
right.
Then I was like, "This is." And then when I heard him do his first recital, it's like, holy cow, he can just play this thing.
He does a lot of stuff with that trombone.
He's very on demand with it, too. He can literally whip anything out you ask for him, especially if you've got the tablature written out, the musical notations.
Yeah, but what makes him such a great fit for our band, being that I write all the music, but I don't literally write it because I don't know how to read or write music. He can play by ear, you know,
Mm-hmm.
like everything to me is by ear and by just whatever is in my head. And for me to be able to like hum it or figure it out on my bass, you know, the melody that I want him to play, and he can usually just pick it up like nothing else. But you were able to give him notation.
Yeah. I recorded it on the keyboard, and then the keyboard records the data, and you can then import that into a score writing software.
There's an app for that, it turns out.
I think he's actually told me about that. I think.
Yeah, and so it's, I had to clean it up a little bit, and I made some errors. He's like, "Yeah, you shouldn't have written it this way, but let me just fix that," and so it looks better. But it was a whole lot easier than trying to teach him a 5-minute song
by ear.
He was just like, "Oh yeah, we'll just set that up and just record it." And
very nice.
Yeah, it made it very smooth and really adds to the songs.
Good for you, Schlong Bob. If you ever wind up listening to this,
Professor
here we are.
Von Peef, there's your shout out.
That was quite a elongated shout out. So let's get into some more music, shall we? This is Our Bones to Chords here on KWJUDAS. Thank you so much for listening, and if you're not Schlong Bob, then thanks for being with us. Thanks for not being Schlong Bob.
We only need one.
Yeah, one is more than enough.
We do only need one.
Gumption City Radio.
Everything has turned to dust. Everything has turned to dust.
Fop, indeed. That was Everything Dust, followed by Benediction here on KWJUDAS by Our Bones to Chords. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, and thank you for coming in on such short notice.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
I wasn't sure if he was even going to want to do this because he doesn't really like talking much, so we really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we do.
Thank you for asking me. I appreciate it.
We also are at about the middle of the show,
Pretty
Wizard.
much exactly. I guess it's time for a Wizard's useless fact.
It is indeed.
Do you guys want a triple today? Should
Oh,
I give you
yes.
3, like, really quick ones?
If you've got them.
Oh, I've got them. A cockroach can live for about a week without its head. The average human being walks past 36 murders in their life without knowing it.
What?
Oh,
And tumors can grow their own teeth and hair. Boom. There you go. Brought
I
to you by
think
the
I
Wizard.
knew that about the tumors. That they can grow their own teeth and hair. I've seen pictures.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy looking. Look it up, folks. Tumors
Yeah.
with teeth and hair.
no, thank you.
You're probably better off not looking it up.
Yeah, that sounds like a rabbit hole I would definitely fall down for a good night or two.
It's up there with like botfly removal.
Harlequin fetus syndrome.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I get down some pretty dark rabbit holes sometimes. So that'll give me something to look up tonight, I guess.
There you go.
And the whole thing about the average person walks by how many murders?
36 is the average number.
Is that just like...
That's like you're walking down the street and there was a murder in that house, like a dead body there, and no one knows about it yet. Like,
so is that at present point, or
Yeah,
is that just like
this is
sometime it has happened at that location?
No, like present point. Like you've walked past an active murder scene without knowing it.
Huh.
That's crazy.
I mean, if you were to count walk past murder scenes, you're talking probably thousands in your life then. So this number of 36 is like there's someone dead in that house you just walked past that no one has been discovered and has been murdered, or they're laying in that ditch over there that you just walked past.
But I'm always looking for dead bodies, and I never find them.
Same here. I've been looking for dead bodies my whole life.
That useless fact is now just gonna mess with me even more.
Well,
it's
I
like,
mean,
why can't I find one? Where are they? If I'm supposed to
they're
have walked
hidden.
past 37 of them already in my lifetime, I mean, where's all the dead bodies at, Wizard?
I'm telling you, they're out there. With headless cockroaches running around them.
Mm-hmm.
Headless cockroach. Oh yeah, that was the first one. I don't know. That's kind of a useful fact if you think about it. Like
How's
you have,
that useful?
if you have a cockroach infestation,
You should do more than just cut their
then-
heads off.
Yeah, it's good to know not to just decapitate them.
All right. I can see how you can make that a useless fact.
Right.
A useful fact, I mean.
And the
Fine.
murder thing is kind of useful if you're looking for dead bodies. If that's something that's on your mind.
All right. Fine.
But no, those were still pretty good. Pretty good random facts. Let's get into some more music, shall we?
Absolutely.
This is Our Bones to Chords here on KWJUDAS, Gumption City Radio. Thank you all so much for being with us tonight. Our Bones to Chords here on KWJUDAS Gumption City Radio. Thank y'all so much for being with us tonight. So earlier, before we got started, I didn't know you played banjo. You were fiddling on the...
I don't really.
I was sitting there thinking, man, how come this isn't part of your album?
Well, if I had one, it probably would have been, because it sort of fits the stuff. I do have a steel string ukulele on the album, which is a ukulele that has banjo strings on it. That my uncle restrung my ukulele, because I was like, I want to learn how to play the banjo. And he had some spare strings in his banjo pack, and he put that on. But it's not tuned like a banjo or like a ukulele. And
did you just make up your own tuning?
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I think that song is the only one I've ever used it on.
What song was it?
Respite for Parched Earth. It's the last song on the album.
Oh, well, let's play that song next, and then we'll get into the earlier stuff.
Okay.
All right, once again, this is Our Bones to Chords here on KWJUDAS Gumption City Radio. Thank you all for being with us tonight. KWJUDAS Gumption City Radio. Our Bones to Chords.
Another kind of fun thing about that one is that I don't remember recording most of it.
The album or that song?
That song.
Oh, really?
When I started the album, I went through some old files and I was like, oh, this is neat. I don't know when I did this. Maybe I'll add something to it and call it good. And there were a couple on there like that I was just like, I have no idea when I recorded this, but I think it's kind of cool, so I'm going to turn it into a song. So,
Word.
Very nice.
So was that as old as some of your Insomnus stuff?
No, this one was, I'm guessing it was probably like 2020-ish, something. It's within the last 10 years. But
So that's about when you started recording this new album, right?
I started working on it seriously at the beginning of 2023. Some of the songs are older than that, but that's when I was just like, I decided, hey, I'm going to do something on my own. And that was partly your fault.
What did I do?
You asked for some music for your Christmas special.
Aha.
And I threw together a song in like a week and a half or 2 weeks and went, oh, hey, this is kind of fun.
It was a good song, too.
I recall this one well.
Then I thought maybe I'll just do a whole album. So, like I said, I found a few things that were done pretty much, and then some that were just loops. Like the first song we played, Bury Every Sword, was just that main guitar loop, which is an odd little thing because it's like 3 measures of 5/4 and then 1 of 4/4. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. It's a 19-beat loop. I like this.
Huh.
And so let me make it a song. And there were a few things like that. And then maybe half the album was just things that I just started fresh and wrote them.
Well, that's neat that it inspired you to pull out some old pieces and polish them.
Yeah, and it made me find some things that I didn't remember, and things. There's one song, we played it earlier, Everything Dust.
Right.
That
Yeah, it's a good one.
I also didn't remember recording most of that. I remember being happy with it and then hearing it on some other speakers and thinking, oh, this stinks, I'm done with it. And then I didn't listen.
I liked it.
I didn't listen to it for years, and I found it on my phone, and I thought, well, this is kind of interesting. And then when I decided to do the solo album, I pulled it out. No, this has some possibilities. So I remixed it, and I think I may have added just a little bit more.
It sounds like there's like a high-pitched instrument in there, like a flute or something.
Yes, it's not
It's
a
like a
flute.
synthesized.
Yeah, it's a. My brain's gone. It's a it's a synth mellotron. So the mellotron flute.
Word.
I think there are a couple of those going on, and
That's what makes that song catchy.
yeah, and I think a toy piano and really
Yeah.
high slide guitar too. So
Dig the toy piano.
mm-hmm.
I've always liked the sound the toy piano has.
Yeah, so that one ended up turning out. I thought for quite a while that was going to be the first song on the album, and then I finished And the Cranes Will Return, and I thought, well, no, I like this one better than anything else on the album, so it's going first.
Very nice.
Word. We also we already heard that song too. We're gonna get into some of the first album now, the originally Insomnus stuff. And is there a name for that album?
It was originally made up of 2 parts. One was called Silent and Helpless, and then I had an EP called Pale. I released them both together as Miscellaneous Recordings, and now it's called Insomnus Miscellaneous Recordings.
Makes sense.
Terrible, terrible title.
It works.
It's a long title.
Yep.
Insomnus Miscellaneous Recordings. All right. Well, let's get into it, shall we? This is Our Bones to Chords /Insomnus is what we're going to hear next. The older stuff here on KWJUDAS, Gumption City Radio. All right, this is Our Bones to Chords on KWJUDAS, Gumption City Radio. And one thing that, well, two things actually that we've failed to mention that I kind of, it's almost surprisingly forgot to mention. This guy's not only in a band, two bands of mine. He's in Waters Rising and also the Open Casket Roadshow, which isn't terribly active. But he is also the one who wrote the theme song for this show.
Yes, this is true.
Yep.
Yeah, how did both of us forget about that? It's on every episode now, and he's the one who wrote it.
Right? This fantastic human being is also responsible for several things that we have pulled off in the past, and he recorded for us.
Oh, yeah, that's true. He saved the day on the second show of the season when I came home with our guest and the power was out, so we had to record at his house just a couple months ago during that crazy windstorm.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Eric's definitely a very close friend and a big help in the Gumption City universe.
And has been. You know, thanks to him, we've got the Cherub funeral still.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You recorded that.
Mm-hmm.
And also the Life is a Circus video.
Yep, many other things that this fine human being here has taken care of for us in the background, as he does.
Forgot about both of those.
Thank you for procuring both of those.
You bet.
As well. So we're going to get into the cartoon next because we're starting to approach the end of the episode. This is a word from our sponsor, Derpenschlee, without whom this fine programming would not exist.
Hey, kid, why so glum?
Nothing, Derpenschlee guy. It's just that my mom always packs the same sack lunch every day, and it's nothing but peanut shells.
Well, being one of the 4 basic food groups, I can see why she'd do that as part of a healthy, well-balanced diet.
I know, it just gets kind of old after a while, you know?
But of course, young compadre, let's say we trade lunches.
Well, what have you got?
A salvaged pair of old granddad's 4-year-old undertrousers.
Why would I want to eat that?
Just add a dash of Derpenschlee's new Derpen sauce. Makes anything you can think of edible.
I think I'll just stick with the peanut shells, thanks.
Very well. All the more for me. Brought to you by Derpenschlee. And remember, if it doesn't say Derpen, it's not Derpenschlee.
Oh, wow. What a kooky company is Derpenschlee. Wouldn't you say, folks?
Yeah. That was just ridiculous.
As
usual.
as is naturally procured. So we're going to have another song because we are running close to the end of the episode. This is some of the earlier stuff from Our Bones to Chords here on Gumption City Radio. Pale Beside Me by Our Bones to Chords here on Gumption City Radio. We are at the end of the hour here, so we're going to have one more song. But before we do, where do people find your music?
It is on Bandcamp at Our Bones to Chords at bandcamp.com. And you can get both of the albums there.
Bandcamp is the place. So, obviously you don't have any live shows, but we do have some Waters Rising shows we could plug.
Yep. We have one on the 4th of October at the Attic in Payson, Utah. And then we will be on krcl.org, I guess. You can listen to it there on, when was it, the 11th?
Yeah, October 11th, I believe.
Yeah. And then we're playing in Provo at the Buzzards and Bees Festival on the 19th, I believe, at Java Junkies.
And also at the Attic in Payson, October 4th.
Yep.
So, if you're listening to this and want to catch some good music, we're playing with some really good bands as well. And all the details will be on our Facebook page at Waters Rising Facebook, on Facebook, with Facebook.
Yeah, I think it's just Facebook
At
/ Waters Rising.
Waters Rising. You might have to say the band at the end because it's also a movie. Unfortunately.
Yes, it is.
Or you can find us also at watersrising.org.
There you go. All right. Well, we're going to play one last little ditty for you. Thank you all for listening. This is Our Bones to Chord. It's called I'll Leave, fittingly, because that's what we're about to do here. We're about to leave.
Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
Yep, and thank you all for listening. KWJUDAS, Gumption City Radio. We'd like to thank you all for joining us on yet another exciting and exclusive episode of KWJUDAS on Gumption City Radio. We now turn you back to a regularly scheduled Gumption City programming.